They're eating the dogs, the people that came in. They're eating the cats. They're eating the pets of the people.
We're getting closer to his return, and the closer we get to him, the faster things are going to happen. The faster the healings, the faster the deliverance, the faster.
10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0. Go. Start. Blast off.
Oh, yes, boys and girls, warm welcome to Crypto 7, your bull market channel. I think this must be the reversal point. We must be days from the reversal point because the interest in Hex and PulseChain is an all-time low. The prices are ridiculously low at the moment. I think if the prices were any lower, I would be buying at these prices if I could afford to. If I had more dollars on the side, I'd be buying, because this is crazy that people are letting the prices go this low. And I think there'll be big whales that will just scoop these soon, because even if cynically you just wanted a quick and dirty 2x, you'd buy at these prices, because it's inevitable that once the marketing tablets start to hit and Richard deploys whatever other strategies he's got planned. We talked with Crispy last night, Howard. There's probably a 4-tier strategy. There's probably 4 layers to the cake, if you like. We've got the tablets. We've got going into banana zone. We've got juicing it with the SAC wallet. And we may have a stream from him as well, if indeed we need a stream from him as well. So there's 4 elements which are going to curry amazingly. And I can't believe that that's not going to result in a huge price pump. Incredible price pump when you think about it. If those 4 factors were to come into play, it's just be insane. So we know that there's a lot of big wealthy whales in Hex and PulseChain. I'm actually quite surprised they're walking past these prices. I mean, anything below 4 zeros and a 4 for PulseChain is just an absolute steal. It's just daylight robbery, as I say. Even if you just intended to bang another $100,000 in, make a quick and dirty 2x, and just take that bit out, leaving what you had in before. I think it's quite wild that we're not seeing that already, quite frankly. But anyway, so we got 48 people watching already. We're streaming over to the Twitterverse because things are getting really slow on Hex and PulseChain at the moment, and I think that it makes sense. One of the things I was thinking about this morning, guys, was that it's quite possible that Richard's more than happy, shall we say, to see the core coin prices go down now just before he deploys the unprecedented marketing. Reason being that it might be a stretch to claim that the all-time lows were as far back as they were, and people might want to measure from when he deployed the marketing. He might now want the bragging rights from when he deploys the revolutionary, unprecedented marketing, rather than the traditional way that you measure the performance of crypto in a bull market, which is from the all-time lows, even if the all-time lows were a couple of years ago. So I think that that might be what he's doing. He might be thinking, do you know what? If I can claim that I've made a 10x for people in a month as opposed to a 5x, then that's going to be more impactful, and that's going to lead to more people. So I'm just speculating that. What isn't speculation is that this must be the big play now, because we know that the curtain is likely to be coming down on the bull market in the not too distant future. If at any point you're getting value, please make sure to come over to YouTube, guys. Make sure to come over to YouTube, tickle the like, slap that sub, and ring that bell button, baby. I think that we are at the turning point now, and it's going to be necessary for it to happen. I believe it's going to happen. And so that's where we're at with it. I'm 95% confident we're about to all get rich. We're about to all go, oh, why didn't I buy PulseChain at 4 zeros and a 3 something? Why didn't I do that? And probably those same people will be buying when we do get to SAC price. There's a lot of people that just will not buy PulseChain until it gets to SAC price, even though that's nearly 3 times higher than where we are now. So if you wait till SAC price and make a 30x out of PulseChain, you could have made a 90x at now, almost 80x, shall we say. And 80x is life-changing. We say on Crypto 7, anything above 50x is life-changing. Do me a favor, everyone. Only if you want to get rich, only if you want to meet me in Monaco, do reposts and things, and spread the word and share your brain juice in the chat. Particularly, we're talking about marketing. This is Crypto7 is UK's biggest Hex and PulseChain channel, covering the biggest marketing event ever in crypto. So I'm excited to do that. I feel privileged to do that. I opened the PulseChain conference and I got a repost from Richard Hart, and that was very, very exciting. And this is very exciting now as well, because as I said, he's given us something. He's given all the PulseChain streamers something now. We can sell this. I can sell this. And even though the prices are where they are, Richard Hart, in this stream today, we're going to talk about how Richard Hart has hit back on claims from Ivan on Tech that the tablets are a bit cheap and nasty. And Richard Hart has reacted to that. So that's exciting. So we're going to talk about that. And I think that's all good publicity. And so I quite welcome that. So we're getting that. They say that you need to hear about something 7 times. Well, people will be hearing about the PulseChain marketing for the first time from Ivan, and maybe now seeing the reaction from Richard to Ivan, and all that's good stuff. And I welcome that. And Ivan was very brutal with us, but I think in good humor. And at the end of the day, he's farming us for engagement, and that's fine to an extent. But I think we can take the mickey out of Ivan a little bit. I mean, so the tablets aren't solid gold, Ivan, like your Rolex Sky Dweller. They're not solid gold. And I know you'd be happier if they were. And you'd be a lot happier if they cost $10,000. But they don't cost $2 either, as you claim. And Richard Hart has hit back at this. So if you didn't know that, Richard Hart has obviously triggered him. And that's very funny. And we're going to talk about that in this stream. But before we do, I want to talk about the macro, because one of the things that makes Crypto7 very unique in the PulseChain ecosystem is that we do look at the macro. And what we say on Crypto7 is that without an understanding of the macro, being all in on any particular crypto, whether it's Solana, whether it's Hex, if you don't understand the macro, it's like being on a paper boat in a force 10 gale in the North Sea. You've got no chance of really understanding or getting out of this bull market alive if you don't understand the macro. What was very, very interesting yesterday, and I think potentially extremely bullish, very bullish, guys, is that NASDAQ got absolutely slapped yesterday. It was down nearly 2% at one point. It had a little bit of a recovery towards the end of the day, finishing on about 0.86% down. But at one point, it was nearly 2% down, which is a massive dump in NASDAQ terms. That's like a 10% dump in crypto at least. And I therefore expected to see Bitcoin at 104, 100 maybe, 98 even. I expected to see Ethereum well below $4,000. And we almost saw the opposite, and we can see that in these prices. And what this tells me, guys, TLDR, what this tells me is that I think that we have gone low enough now. I think we're going to bounce. And we see Bitcoin right this second, live screen, live show. If at any point you're getting value, make sure to come over to YouTube and sub, guys. We've got Bitcoin at 111,200, which is very, very good, because and there's so much nervousness in crypto, and we know that the market's in fear. And I knew that if we went below 110, people would be getting really upset. And sure enough, and we're back over that 110. I don't know in TA terms how important that is, but I know in sentiment terms it's very important. Ethereum's at 4,336 right now, so that's not too bad. Some of the TA guys say that Ethereum's going to retrace the 50-week moving average, wherever that is. I think it's at 4,000. But that's all well and good. You know, the thing with the TA guys is they try to predict the future by looking in the rearview mirror. So they try to predict the future by looking in the rearview mirror. And of course, we all know if you're a driver, if you spend your time driving looking in the rearview mirror, you're going to drive off a cliff eventually. So it's a dangerous pastime, and it's not the best. Ultimately, it all depends whether the Tom Lees and the Larry Finks of this world decide they're going to send Ethereum. And if they decide they're going to send Ethereum, then they're going to send Ethereum. And it's as simple as that, guys. We are in a very, very unique situation here, and I just don't know how it's going to play. But I do understand the moving parts now of this bull market. I understand the moving parts of this bull market perfectly, and I understand what's going to happen, but not necessarily all the final outcomes. I understand now that the crypto community is bifurcated into 2 camps. You've got the one camp that's got like a big digital touch screen countdown on the wall in the living room. telling you that really you should be getting out heavily in October and getting out more pretty much everything by November, because if you follow the 4-year calendar, that 4-year countdown, like the countdown to the Olympics, we've got this countdown. Oh, we know history tells us, the rear view mirror tells us, Crypto 7, we need to be out by November, October, really. And really, I want to front run it and sell in September. That's those 4-year cycle maxis are they're getting very, very anxious, because they want to get out, but they haven't made enough money to get out, but they want to get out. And I think the market knows all this. The market knows this, and it's going to test you. It's going to test your conviction. And then on the other side, so I mentioned half the crypto community are absolutely 4-year cycle maxis. They've got a tattoo on their arm saying, I promise not to round trip in 25. I got the t-shirt round tripped in 21. I don't want the t-shirt round tripped in 21, 25. It won't all fit on the t-shirt for starters unless I'm really fat. So nobody wants that t-shirt, guys. I hear PulseChain streamers like CryptoClass saying, no matter what, shout out to CryptoClass, no matter what, I've heard her say this twice, no matter what, I'm out when the calendar, the 4-year clock ticks down. But just on the 4-year clock, and if you are one of these countdown people, it is important to look at how long did it take Ethereum in the prior cycle, to go from the all-time high from the one before, which was 2017, to the final ultimate high, because that's also a very important countdown clock, particularly in the case of Ethereum, because we know in Ethereum that the simplest way to define when we're in an altcoin season is when Ethereum is above its prior all-time high. So we just had the first little poke above that last weekend when I was in Chepstow. We went above the prior all-time high for about 5 minutes. We're not currently above the prior all-time high, but if we look at this from 2021, let me just check this is on screen, guys. Light up the chat now. It's only the strongest PulseChain streamers will survive this lack of interest. It's really brutal now. I mean, I'd probably get more coverage covering embalming fluid. I think this is getting pretty. I think this tells me this must be the sentiment bottom at this point. It must be. So I'm even having to stream to the Twitterverse just to scrape a few more views going. So righty, you have got it on screen, so that's all good. And let's do this, guys. Let's do this. Right. So the 2017 high was about, you can see this if you've got very good eyes, if you're younger than me, or if you've got a magnifying glass. Let's say $1,200. Okay, the $1,200 Ethereum all-time high. So altcoin season in the last cycle, therefore, is when Ethereum goes above the prior all-time high from the 2017 cycle. Them's the rules. I don't make the rules, guys. Okay, so that's how you define altcoin season in the simplest of terms. So what we see is that we first went above the prior all-time high from 2017 around about the beginning, January 21. But we didn't, January 21, but we didn't top until November. So 10 months. Okay. We did go back below again. So if you count then from maybe 9 months, 8 months, even if you said 7 months, we've only just started that timer. So when did the timer go? Thanks for asking. I've told you already. It went when I was in Chepstow last weekend. So when Ethereum went to its prior all-time high from the 2021 cycle, or 2021 top. And so we did that last weekend. And so the timer starts. There's something between 7 months to 11 months. So if you are a Sands of Time countdown 4-year maxi, like CryptoClass, I'm definitely selling everything then. I don't care this time. Don't tell me this time's different, Crypto 7. I mean, it's funny because Tom Lee is saying that the bull market has just started. He's saying that we had a bear market earlier in this year. And it's funny because Crypto 7 said that a few times. I said, guys, we've been in this bearish situation most of 25. 6 months, in fact, waiting to go up again. Could it be then that we are in a mini bear market? Because bear markets only last 12 months. This is 6 months. Is it a mini bear market? Tom Lee is agreeing with me because Tom Lee says, yes, that was a bear market in NASDAQ and in crypto. And now we've just started the bull market. Tom Lee is saying we've just started the bull market. And then if you if you adjust your worldview around that, you think, okay, well, that makes sense, doesn't it? Because isn't it the case that there's a Fed meeting in a couple of weeks and they're dropping the rates for the first time in a year? Yes, that's right. Well, doesn't that coincide with a bull market? Yes, it does. Thank you. Yes. And global liquidity is still going up and the dollar's going down, and all the conditions seem to be right for crypto to continue into 2026. Now, I'm not certain it will continue into 2026, but I've long thought that we're going to have this showdown between 50% of the people in crypto who, let's be honest about it, guys. I think a lot of people in crypto were hoping to sell at the end of Q1 because we were promised a Jan, Feb, March of Q1 this year, all green. That would have been great because we were already on a $4,000 Ethereum. You were telling Crypto 7 we're going to have 3 green months in Q1. Well, that would probably put Ethereum at 8K, 10K. At that point, I'm taking a lot off the table. At that point, you know, I've got enough money to buy half of Monaco. So I was thinking, oh, that's fantastic. That's great. And we didn't get that. Now everyone is anxious to get out because they promised themselves. They tattooed it, guys. They've got a T-shirt. I'm not round tripping 25. And so very clever people like Crypto Class are thinking exactly that in the Hex and PulseChain community. So we're all desperate to take some profit, but there's no profit to be had. So you can see the anxiety. Meanwhile, guys like Larry think they don't need to take profit anytime soon. Warren Buffett or anyone else. They don't need Jamie Dimon. They don't need to take any profit anytime soon. And of course, they've got us on that as well. So they know they've got us over the barrel. The Wall Street are coming for our crypto. And this is what Richard Hart said in his final tweet just before the PulseChain conference, which he pinned. He said, don't sell your crypto early. Wall Street are coming for your crypto. So if you are a Sands of Time maxi, then you can't walk past the fact that it was 8, 9, 10 months at least between Ethereum going to its all-time high from the cycle before to its all-time high of last cycle. That was the period, and that is altcoin season, because that's what they say. Altcoin season is defined when Ethereum goes over its prior all-time high. We're currently not even there yet. Suggests we've got a long way to run. Tom Lee says we've got a long way to run. The Wall Street are in the driving seat. Wall Street are in the driving seat, and when you tell them that we are worried about the 4-year cycle, they just look at us like we're mad. They don't know what we're talking about. I spend most of my time listening to Wall Street, so you don't have to. And I don't hear them talking about the 4-year cycle at all. I don't hear them talking about the business cycle much at all. If I do, I hear them saying they think it's been prolonged. It's been elongated, extended. They think so because of the tariff threats, which still go on. They're still going on. Are they legal? Are they not legal? Are they happening? Are they not happening? Oh my God, I don't know. Is the US going to have to repay it all? I think that's highly unlikely. I think that was FUD. But it's extremely bullish, guys, that NASDAQ got slapped yesterday and crypto seems to be going up, which tells me that, again, it's probably Wall Street have decided that it's time to come for our crypto. We know that the CEOs of the institutions are saying it's time to come for the crypto. They're saying that Bitcoin's undervalued. They're saying Ethereum's going to 60,000. So we've got half the crypto community that at this point would be very happy with a $6,000 Ethereum in this bull market. We've got Tom Lee across the road from Wall Street saying we're going to 60,000. We don't know who's right at the moment. It's certainly a big showdown. Of course, it's going to make a big difference in terms of how much we make in PulseChain. What we do know from Richard, not only do we know that Richard thinks the bull market's got a long way to run, if he had streamed and told us this, you could still surmise there was a tiny possibility he'd be lying to you, that he wants you as his exit liquidity, that he's secretly selling while telling you the bull market's going into 2027. Yeah. Okay, it's possible. There's a tiny possibility. Okay, we all know Richard. We know he wouldn't do that to us. Yeah. You got to be a PDI investor to think he'd do something like that. Oh, sorry. Sintin, I've stocked it up recently. I see PDI's at a terrible price today. It's below 4 zeros and a 4 or something. No, 3 zeros and a 4. Below 0.4 of a cent anyway. Which is a nasty place to sit. 90% down from when I sold at 3 cents. There'd been just one too many lies, and since then I think there's been about 247 more lies from guys like Somi. And we know that Richard Hart says that the guys like Somi are scammers because they are lying to you about PDAI. Table tennis bat images means they're going to get a listing on Binance. No, it doesn't. It's a lie. Richard Hart's going to rug the bridge. No, he isn't. It's a lie. Richard Hart has told you that KOLs that are still promoting PDAI are scammers. He has told you this. So you need to take note and you need to listen, because this is going to be the last decent bull market. I mean, this bull market's been hard. So I dread to think how hard the next one's going to be. I got into crypto in 2016, Ethereum mining, and the saying then was, look, you cock up the first, you make a complete mess of the first, you learn in the second, you make money in the third, something like that. You can't do that now. You can't do that now. It's this is your last chance. This is your last chance. And you can listen to a guy who pegs his nipples from Queensland, or you can listen to someone who's been in crypto 2016, made a lot of money in crypto, and has called a lot of things right. I told you that PLS would pull away from PLSX as retail start to come in. That's exactly what we're seeing. PLS is miles ahead of PLSX now. I'm telling you now that that gap will extend. It's absolutely incredible that the whole PulseChain community still think that PDAI, Freudian slip, still think that PLSX is going to outperform PLS. It's not. Have I got a big bag of PLSX? Yes, I have. Do I think that PLS is going to way outperform PLSX? Yes, I do. When will PLSX next outperform PLS? It will be deep in the bear market, when it's been oversold, when the price has been absolutely crushed in the next bear market, and then suddenly the community in the bear market will get excited about the buy and burn function again. It'll catch up, and there'll be a catch-up play during the bear market. But during the bull market, as retail come in more and more, and we know they're coming in, they're going for the layer one, because you never get sacked by the layer one. You never get divorced by the layer one. You never get divorced by the layer one. And people want all four of the new layer ones. They want Sui, Say, Aptos, and PulseChain. Yes, they do. They want the full set, boys and girls. DEXs can be copied like that. Layer ones, it's a different ball game. It's a different ball of wax. I love that phrase. It's a different ball of wax, copying a layer one and copying a DEX. And that's why people don't copy a layer one quickly or easily, or even effectively. You also need a load of devs to maintain a layer one, and you don't need it with a DEX. That's right. That's right. That's the truth. That's the truth. Set your minds, gentlemen. Set your hearts, ladies. You know I'm telling you the truth. So I'm amazed. So I'm amazed. Let's just see if we've got any super chats. I don't think so. Who have we got in the chat? Let's shout out a few people. It's so quiet today. We've got Claudia. Nice to see you. Fantastic. It says hello, 7. And ADP. Yes. Good to see you, Claudia. Nice to see a female in first. We got ADP. I've shouted you out already. We got Vishal Patel in the house. Like you up, boys and girls, take your place on the podium. Let's do this. We've got Elbow, strong supporter of the channel. Check My Pulse, another legend. Complex Simon, all regulars. It's lovely to see the regulars are going to make it. We don't want it too crowded in Monaco. That's what we say. Solo. It says, are we guys stupid that we invested in the RH ecosystem? It's crunch time. I'm 95% sure it's genius. There's only a fine line between genius and insanity, and we're going to find out now which side of that we are on, Solo. I firmly believe that we have yesterday in the stream with Crispy. Check it out if you haven't seen it. I really like Crispy. What's not to like with Crispy? And I talked about tripartite of factors. We've got the tablets. We've got the banana zone, which I'm sure we're going into. We've also got Syntin for banana zone, like a Syntin for PDAI. I know nobody wants to hear it, but I think we're approaching banana zone. So we've got the tablets, the banana zone, and the juicing. I like that. I don't like the phrase the community has, Richard Hart's going to paint the charts. It makes it sound like he's on a night school oil painting class on a Monday evening, you know? No, he's going to juice it, isn't he, guys? He's going to juice a fucking thing with some of his vast money. And then all of that's going to happen together. Those are the three factors. Now, if he needs to, and if he wants to, or if he can't resist the glory, there's going to be a fourth factor. And the fourth factor is streaming, which would also involve going on big channels and everything else, and people literally begging him to come on their show and things, and to ride that last narrative. But it's not where I expected to be. It's not where anyone expected to be when they sacrificed for PulseChain. I sacrificed heavily for PulseChain because I thought we would be the first crypto to do well in the bull market. I realized that maybe we weren't going to get PulseChain until until the bear market. But I thought that when we got to the bull market, we would be the first to go out the gates, not the last or one of the last. I say the last. We're not the last, in fact. I still believe that gaming is going to do like 100x's later in this bull market, but it's still just sat there doing nothing. It's like it's in a cryogenic tank. But there are a lot of very big influencers like Elliot Trades, like Alex Becker, who are all in the gaming, guys, and they're just sat there scooping it up while it's cheap, and they still think there's 100x in gaming projects, particularly IDO gaming projects, new projects. There's going to be insane gains in gaming. And that makes perfect sense because gaming is a huge industry in the real world. And of course, crypto is huge, and the marriage is perfect. The synergy between crypto and gaming is insanely good. You can buy and sell skins, yada, yada. So the gaming is going to be huge later in this bull market, but it's not yet. And I think it's the same situation for us. I think there's going to be a few narratives that are going to fly. I think AI is going to fly again. AI had a period in 23. I made decent money in 23 in AI projects. I think it's going to go again. So that's where we are. I think we've got 3 to 7 months. The clever people think we've got 3 to 7 months. And one thing that might happen now is that we just sit at 110k Bitcoin from between now and November. Just slowly forcing the people like Crypto Class, shout out to her, who've got their timer on the screen, on the wall, saying, I will sell all my crypto by November 2025, no matter what. I don't care where it is. I don't care what the macro says. I don't care what the Wall Street guys say. I'm selling a lot, okay? There's a lot of people like that, and I'm not picking on Crypto Class. Everyone's heard of Crypto Class. I'm talking about Crypto Class. I'm actually a big fan of Crypto Class. I don't know why she likes Somi so much. I mean, but there you go. Be that as it may, it's probably because he gives the girls shout outs. But I mean, the bottom line is that there are a lot of these people, and there's going to be a transfer of wealth, guys. We're witnessing the biggest transfer of wealth from the people that are already in the lifeboat, like you guys, with a comfortable seat. Yeah, maybe even a pillow. We're on the lifeboat already. We want to get back onto the Titanic, which is sinking. My metaphor, my IP. So we're on the lifeboat already, but we're desperate to get out. Oh, I want to get out. I want to get back to the Titanic by November. Why do you want to get back in the Titanic by November? Because the people on the Titanic have just suddenly realized to stop playing the violins because they are definitely going to drown. They want to get back on they want to get on the lifeboat, and you want to get off the lifeboat and back into the boat. There's been this rotation every 4 years. You go from the Titanic to the lifeboat, make a lot of money, then go back to the Titanic and party. But there's going to be no lifeboat. There's going to be no Titanic to go back to in this cycle. So where do you think you're going anyway? Guys like Tom Lee, they know this, and he's not the only one. It's absolutely fascinating listening to the billionaires in Wall Street. I spend most of my time doing that, talking about how early they are in crypto. And it's quite funny, and they really give themselves a big pat on the back, and they say, I'm early on this thing called Bitcoin. And you kind of think, dude, it was launched in 2008, don't you? But he is right, because it's only now that there's a semblance of regulatory clarity that they can even take it seriously. It's only now that there's a semblance of market cap that they can even take it seriously. They couldn't play with us before because it would have killed us to play with us. It would have been, it would have been like, I don't know, playing with a tiny baby ant with an elephant. We couldn't be played with, and now we can be played with. And in a non-sexual sense, guys. You know what I'm saying? 235 people watching now. That's more like it. Let's shout out some more people. We've got Hextralian Stew. He's a legend. I really like most Australians. I like most Australians, don't I, guys? Yes. Who else we got? Keithy T says, like whack-a-mole. Whack-a-like. That's right. That's what Crispy was saying last night as well. Has everyone seen my stream with Crispy yet? That was a good one. We've got Brown Conservative Capitalist. It says Ivan is an overinflated influencer. Well, Brown Conservative Capitalist won. That's a mouthful, isn't it? Thank you, because you reminded me I meant to be talking about that. So let's get on with that then. So for the background, for anyone who's just got out of prison and hasn't heard, Ivan was more than a bit cheeky about the tablets, no doubt farming us for engagement and things, and said that they cost $2. So let's just listen to that now, and then we're going to see Richard's reaction, because this has clearly got back to Richard. Most of the PulseChain streamers, after I covered it, did cover this. So at some point from someone, Richard has obviously heard that Ivan's saying that these are $2. But let's just for the full history and things, so that you can just see that it's definitely a reaction from Richard to Ivan. Let's just watch this now, boys and girls. Let's do this, everyone. Let's do this,
guys. I mean, we all knew Pulse holders are special. They're in special needs class. They're very, very special. They're very close to our heart. But now, he bought this from AliExpress. It's $2 on AliExpress. I mean,
it's $2 from AliExpress, and so now Richard has obviously heard about this and has fired back. And what you can see is I'm sharing his X feed here. He's gone, "Oh, look what it costs, $15 at Staples." And I love this because it looks to me like this is a photo which has been taken at Staples, showing the same tablet for $15 at Staples, which is an office supplier. And it could even be, I imagine this could actually be Richard. Who's in Staples with his entourage and things, and he's got, "Wait a minute, guys, wait a minute, I need to photo this," because it does look like this has been photoed with an iPhone for the purposes of demonstrating that they're not $2. But look, Richard has actually gone, "Oh, look what it costs, $15 at Staples." And as I say, I imagine that Richard actually took this photo, angrily took the photo, and then clearly he's triggered because straight away he comments on his own post about them being $15 at Staples, and he says, "It's funny how people talk about stuff being a couple of bucks, but then forget it's $15 shipping as well as the $15 from Staples." So if you assume that they're $15 and forget the $15 shipping as well, well, that's $6 million. 400,000 of these things at $15 is 6 million. But if you say that it's also another $15 for the shipping, then that's 12 million. So this is a big marketing spend. This is a big marketing spend, a bold move, but it's also the maximum return on investment. And this is, of course, what all the AIs tell us, that if they were going to do a marketing campaign, they would use these tablets, because they are the best return on investment, which means that Richard could do 10 million if the bull market lasts long enough. As I say, it's the clearest expression for me from Richard Hart that the bull market has got a long way to run, because if he was to stream tomorrow and just tell us that, well, he could be lying. Although that's where, yeah, I think that's where I got on about PDI. Well, he could be lying. But if he's actually arranged the container ships to arrive over the next 12 months, as Crispy was telling us last night, check out that stream if you haven't seen it, but Crispy says that the container ships are going to keep coming for a year. Well, that would suggest to me that Richard doesn't think the bull market's ending anytime soon, and certainly not in 2025, much later in 2026. And that's what a lot of people are thinking, is that we're going well into Q1 with this bull market for crypto, well into Q1. Certainly nobody's suggesting that NASDAQ's about to go into a bear market. And if NASDAQ doesn't go in a bear market, then we can't go into a bear market. So them's the rules, guys. But there you are. It's very, very funny, isn't it? So Richard has been in Staples and he's found the exact same unit that he's giving away for free for $15. And he points out there's also the postage. And he just says, "It's funny how people talk about stuff being a couple of bucks, but then forget it's also $15 shipping or something. Lol." He's really annoyed. I think it's also funny that this photo from Staples has had of a tablet has had 70,000 views on X already. So it's quite funny. There's nice publicity for Staples there. But yeah, so if anyone does want the exact same tablet without the logos, then just go to Staples, and they're $15, Ivan. There's $15. Get it, buddy. So I think all this is good, and this is what Fast Abdul foretold. This was in the Fast Abdul prophecy, was that we're going to get lots of hate and lots of crossfire and lots of blowback on this, and it's all good because it's all starting to raise awareness and raise publicity. So I'm 95% certain that what's going to happen is that at the exact same time as a tablet starts to arrive, Rich is going to start to juice the ecosystem, and at the exact same time can't be a coincidence. We're anticipating altcoin season. We know that altcoin seasons when Ethereum's above its prior all-time high from the prior cycle. We know that we are currently not above the prior all-time high from the prior cycle. Therefore, we're not in altcoin season. Talking about this sort of thing, guys, we say jokingly on Crypto 7, and do come over and subscribe, but we say jokingly on Crypto 7, don't we, guys, that you guys are above average looks and intelligence if you're subscribed to Crypto 7. And I've been watching some of the other PulseChain streamers, and I have to say that I can tell from the level of discourse in the chat, I can tell from the comments in the chat that it is actually the case, that it's not a joke, that people that subscribe to Crypto 7 are much more intelligent than the average Hexagon and PulseChain, because the amount of crying about the tablets I'm seeing, the amount of people, I was watching some of RH Max Sleepy yesterday, and the amount of people that seem to be very upset about the tablets, who think that the tablets aren't going to work, and if they were in charge of marketing, they'd do it all different. It's quite incredible. I don't see that kind of stupidity. I don't see that kind of low IQ engagement in Crypto 7. I think people realize on Crypto 7 that it's not just the tablets. The tablets could even be a Trojan horse. It could be a smokescreen, guys. It could be that he's not expecting the tablets to do a lot, but he's going to juice it, baby. I much prefer that. Put a comment in if you prefer the juicing from the sack wallets rather than painting the charts. What does that even fucking mean? He's going to juice it, baby. Let's say what it is. It's going to be 4 things, yes? Juicing it. Altcoin season. Tablets. And if he needs it and he wants it to get the girls' telephone numbers or whatever else, he's going to come for the glory as well. He's probably got the girls' telephone numbers already, hasn't he? Let's face it. Let's face it. Crypto Mike's in the house. Says, good morning, all. C7. Smash the likes. So if you're coming in now, Richard Hart has struck back at Ivan's outrageous claims that the tablets are cheap and nasty and only cost $2 by pointing out that they are $15 in Staples, which is an office supplier. So you could probably find them even more expensive than that, because that's a discount wholesaler, isn't it? And then he's pointing out also there's the postage costs. And if you times 400,000, which we know are already in existence, have already been produced, then with $15, you get to 6 million. Them's the rules, guys. I don't make the rules. It's quite, I mean, so we can't chuckle at that. But even if you want one gold-plated, like your Rolex Sky Dweller gold-plated, it's got solid gold. If you want a solid gold one, sorry, it's not gold-plated. It's solid gold, his Sky Dweller. If you want a solid gold tablet, I can arrange one. We can just get it dipped and things. There are specialist companies that, have you seen those guys where you can get an iPhone in gold, can't you? Those are the sorts of things you'd see at the top of a bull market. I haven't seen that in 2025. I haven't seen any crypto bros getting their iPhones dipped in gold so that they have a gold iPhone. I haven't seen any. I haven't checked out the prices. That tells me we're not at the top of the cycle. There's lots of things that tell me we're not at the top of the cycle. The fact we're in fear. The fact that this little handy little scale thing here, as we showed yesterday, but as we have the Twitterverse audience as well, let's show it again now. So there's a handy little thing that tells us where we are in the crypto cycle right here at the top that people overlook. It says altcoin season meter. And it's 49 out of 100. 100 is altcoin season. 1 is Bitcoin season. We're currently at 49. So we're not even halfway, which makes sense, doesn't it? Because we're not even at Ethereum all-time high, but we're nearly at Ethereum all-time high. So, in rough terms, that's probably the trigger. A score over 50 would be Ethereum's higher than its prior cycle. It's currently not. So that's why we're seeing a score of 49. By the way, you don't wait till 100 to sell, by the way. We never get to 100. You probably want to sell the lot at 80, but just to let you know there, nor do you ever, I assume, go to a score of lower than about 10 or something. But, you get the idea anyway. We're not even halfway in terms of this bull market, according to this scale here. We've gone back to neutral. That's good. We've gone to neutral in a bull market. Yeah, we've just gone back to neutral from fear. That's interesting. It's interesting. And as I say, what's very, very interesting, guys, and if you didn't know it, you know it now, and you're thinking, gosh, why wasn't I subscribed to this surprisingly good-looking, well-spoken Englishman? The reason that it's so interesting is because NASDAQ got a beating yesterday, absolute spanking. They felt like I had a sleepover with P. Diddy, and yet we are pumping. Now, if it was a bit of an overreaction from NASDAQ, and NASDAQ has a lovely fat green day today, then we could be going to 120k Bitcoin. We could be going to $5,000 Ethereum. I know the TA guys are saying that Ethereum is going to retrace the 50-week moving average, and we're going back to 4,000 now. You know, Benjamin Cowen saying Ethereum's going home again now. Well, not if these big boys decide to send it through the institutional buying, through the Treasury Reserve buying, through their public balance sheet buying, through their buying on Coinbase, and all that good stuff. But we'll wait and see what happened. I see the Ethereum Foundation sold some Ethereum again. They are annoying. They are very annoying. They sold 40 million, so no big deal, no big deal. But you'd rather they didn't keep doing that. Particularly at these critical times, it's quite extraordinary because you'd think they want to be sending the messaging that they think that Ethereum is going to be like 20,000 in 6 months, and that's why they're not selling now. And as I've seen people say, why don't they use lending protocols? You know, things like liquid loans on PulseChain. Why don't they use the lending protocols instead of just selling on Coinbase and that sort of thing? But Bitcoin's 111,300 right now. Ethereum's at 4,355. We're back into neutral. Bull market's only ending extreme greed. We're in neutral. So do we have anything to worry about? No, we don't. I just think, and I've thought this for many months, and I've said it, guys, to you, haven't I, that I think that we're going to be forced to wait it out beyond the traditional 4-year time period. And but we've shown, haven't we, on this show today? We've shown a lot on this show today. You're thinking, wow, this is such a good channel. I'm so glad I've subscribed and tapped the bell now. But we've shown a lot on this show, including the fact that the last time that Ethereum went above its prior all-time high from the cycle before, we had between 7 to 10 months until the cycle was over. We've only just tapped that high a week ago, so we've got 7 to 10 months according to that. So if you're gonna tell me that we've got to follow the 4-year cycle, then surely you're also going to follow that as well, aren't you? Going to follow that? Then why? Then, you know, so you're just cherry picking the bearish stuff, then, aren't you? Yes, fantastic. Let's just see if we've got any generous super chats. I don't think we have. I don't blame you guys, but yeah, I mean, personally, as I say, and as I started the stream saying, so I'll finish here. Just to come back to that, if I could, I'd be buying more PulseChain now, because I think that's going to be at that price in a few weeks' time. I think so. So just a quick and dirty 2 or 3x. It's just easy money, really. I'm surprised some of these whales aren't doing that right now. As it is, I'm actually going to borrow some more money because I have a lot of crypto, but I don't want to be selling these prices. So where I'm at is I'm gonna have to borrow. I mean, I could just say, hey, would people like to send me an Ethereum like Somi does? And if anyone does want to send me an Ethereum, I can ping you an Ethereum wallet receiving address. No problem. Just DM me or say in the comments if you want to send me an Ethereum. I think that's what Somi does. He just said, please send me an Ethereum. So if I have given you value and you'd rather I did that than have to go cap in hand to the banks for a loan, never like to do that, then send me an Ethereum, please. Thank you very much. There we go. And I'll continue streaming every day until we get to the end of the bull market. But as I say, if you have faith in Richard Hart as I do, you're going to be very encouraged by the fact he's only just started the marketing now. Oh, before I go, don't leave. There's an interesting update, exciting update. The van that's distributing all the tablets from the non-profit organization to the American Postal Service has arrived. It arrived 2 days ago. So presumably the transportation of the tablets to the Central Post Depot has started either 2 days ago or yesterday, or at the very latest today. You know, maybe the guy needed a rest or something, you know, and that's perfect because we know that they were doing the envelope. So they're now moving tablets to the post office. And what I was going to ask, please say in the replay, people that are in America, how long does it take? We now know, this is what we know, guys. We know that the tablets have arrived in California. And we know that the van that's distributing the tablets from the location in California to the post office service in America, to the post offices, has started the process. How long does it take the postal system to distribute, say, across states? 51 states, aren't there, in America? I got that wrong famously recently. I think there's 51 states. If you had to cross America, using the American Postal Service, UPS, or whatever it is. How long does it take, guys? So that we have that measure. If you have any other intel on the marketing, I've shared some good intel for you there. A year worth of container ships, I'm hearing. They are now in California. The van is now distributing to the postal office, or has been for 2 or 3 days. If you have any other intel, let me know, either in the replay, or I look at all the replay comments, or message me, or whatever. You know, and if you want to send me an Ethereum, then by all means do. That will save me having to borrow some money, because I've got a ton of crypto and I don't want to sell it at these prices. I mean, I've got a load of Ethereum, but I'm not selling it at the price it was 4 years ago. I want to see it starting with a 5, and then I might sell some Ethereum to keep the lights on. Never sold a core coin. Yes, yes, yes. Thanks very much, guys. This is it. This is it. It has to be it, and I believe it is it, and that's it. Cheers, guys. Bye, bye, bye.